Hello, I'm Jonasz Lewiński and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them, and tell you everything you need to know. We open with the Kremlin's latest stroke of genius, making it abundantly clear that peace talks are for the birds. According to the Institute for the Study of War, Vladimir Putin remains as disinterested as ever in a negotiated ceasefire. Instead, he's laser-focused on his grand quest to obliterate Ukrainian statehood altogether. After all, why settle for diplomacy when you can aim for total destruction? This unwavering commitment was apparently confirmed during a recent conversation between Putin and his Serbian counterpart Alexander Vučić. When the latter raised the curious idea of a ceasefire, Putin reportedly replied that Russia would instead push to fulfill all the objectives of its special military operation, the Kremlin's pet euphemism for its unprovoked war in Ukraine. Translation: thanks, but no thanks, we're fine with continuing the chaos.
Со мной, что вооруженные силы Украины укрепляются.
Да потому что
и в следующем году цель перейти
да
в
вы поймите, им неким укрепить.
Что?
Людей нет.
Если так, то что вы боитесь? Чего вы
вообще, а кто вам сказал, что мы боимся?
Вы говорите, мы вас всех уничтожим.
Да.
А зачем уничтожать, если
Всех.
некого? Если некого.
Потому что, правильно, мы уже часть уничтожили,
А вы
остальных
слышали,
добьем.
чтобы Зеленский говорили о
Василий,
капитулировании?
да мне вообще плевать на то, что он говорит. Вы что, читаете, Гитлер говорил, что он капитулирует?
Знаете что?
Василий Ильич, вы нацисты, мы вас уничтожим.
Смотрите.
Поймите, это вот так просто и ясно. С вами никто договариваться не собирается. Есть задачи, поставлены нашим верховным главнокомандующим. Среди них нет формулировки договариваться с нацистами. Вы нацисты.
Judging by this footage, I would have thought that Vladimir Solovyov was probably possessed by the ghost of Vladimir Zhirinovsky. But wait, it actually gets better than that. On the front lines, actions speak louder than empty promises of peace. The Kyiv Institute of Forensic Examinations has gone over drone debris graciously sent over from the east and found them equipped with deadly thermobaric missiles. Yes, advanced weaponry designed for maximum destruction. Just what you see when you're keen on peace talks, right? Now, these projectiles are not only extremely fast, but also extremely destructive. It's almost as if the Kremlin is trying to send a message, and the message is this: we are doubling down on aggression. So, while the world watches and waits for a hint of rationality, Putin seems determined to drag everyone back to a time when might made right, and international law, well, didn't really mean anything. It was perhaps a suggestion, but nothing binding, nothing you could actually take action upon. These were the bad old days that Putin seems to think are actually worth coming back to. Now, in the end, it's clear that Moscow's idea of a peace process is peace for itself and bits and pieces for everyone else. But hey, who needs friends, allies, or a stable economy when you can have the hollow satisfaction of uncompromising intransigence? Ah, the fine art of global alliances, Russia style. Just picture it. Russia struggling to keep up its military prowess on the world stage, calling in for backup. And who answers? North Korea, the last bastion of democratic values, if you're living in an alternate reality, that is. In the grand show of who can gather the strangest coalition, we have Russia and North Korea, a duo surely destined to make the world tremble, or at least laugh out loud. We're told that Pyongyang has sent its finest soldiers to support Russia's noble mission in Ukraine. These North Korean troops, supposedly prepped to build fortifications, somehow found themselves thrown into the meat grinder as cannon fodder. Our protagonist in this tragedy, with of course plenty of comedy thrown in for a good measure, is a wounded North Korean soldier. He recounted in a recent video how his comrades were sent forward with nothing but empty promises and rusty weapons. Apparently, instead of the expected construction duties, they are pushed into direct assaults, because when has logic ever been a key consideration in Russian military strategy?
Ну что я могу? Я могу высказать свое личное.
Воевать могут?
Могут. И правильно наш президент. Ваше-то какое дело? У нас есть договор, есть статья 4. Они находятся на российской территории. У севернокорейцев, да, они могут помочь нам в Курской области высвободить наши силы для того, чтобы перебросить их на Донбасс.
The irony here is that North Korea and Russia both pride themselves on their strong, fearless military forces. Yet here we are, watching as these two regimes, both operating with the subtlety of a wrecking ball, scramble to scrape together enough troops for a fight neither seems to be able to win on its own. And the cherry on top, Moscow's media machine will keep pumping out their usual "we're strong, we're victorious" propaganda, while ignoring the grumblings from these same North Korean allies who were told they would be building walls, but ended up facing artillery fire. And what do the Koreans themselves say about it? Well, they praise, of all things, Russian food.
切好的西红柿，这是切好的土豆，牛肉罐头美滋滋2罐。现在看这罐子开的多帅气，以前都不会开，现在练的开罐都会开的轻轻松松，开的多漂亮。这2罐牛肉罐头，然后炖这个空心粉儿，开始做饭，开始炒菜了。先把这刀子给收起来。哎呀！哎，煮好饭了，吃饭。今天是西红柿土豆炖牛肉，再炖这个空心粉儿。给我看，炖一锅，老外不吃，就我一个炖多了，老外不吃的我炖多了。看。
Perhaps the next grand plan from Russia will be to call in reinforcements from even more quote-unquote valued allies. Who is next? A platoon of diplomats from Belarus armed with, I don't know, slingshots, shooting potatoes maybe? That would be a plan. At this rate, it's just a matter of time before we see them combing the globe for anyone willing to lend a helping hand in their floundering, mismanaged special operation. You know, just like the North Korean Gordon Ramsay there. Well, certainly he is satisfied with Russian food. I mean, if you come from a country where you hardly get any food at all, you're going to be satisfied. You know, the bar is not really that high now, is it? And now, for a visit with the ever-peaceful Alexander Lukashenko, noble voice of reason and tranquility, in a world full of groundless accusations. Here he is, reassuring us all that Belarus would never dream of allowing Russia to launch attacks on Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, or Ukraine from its soil. No, that's just complete nonsense, mere Western paranoia.
Около миллиона человек по безвизу, приехавшие к нам, смогли воочию убедиться, что в Беларуси действительно есть диктатура. Диктатура стабильности, безопасности, порядка, доброты и гостеприимства. Диктатура справедливости. Может быть, мы еще не все сделали, но любому президенту, который будет руководить в ближайшее время страной, надо сделать все за 5 лет, чтобы у нас была еще самая справедливая страна. Я всегда говорю, люди в любой стране и в тюрьме сидят и так далее. Но нельзя обижать даже нарушивших закон. Нельзя обижать так, чтобы они затаили зло на тебя. Они должны понимать, что решение принято справедливо.
Let's not forget that according to this masterclass in diplomacy, Belarus wouldn't engage in conflict with its neighbors. After all, they are just trying to strangle poor Belarus and Russia, you see. How villainous of the West, simply searching for reasons to criticize such peaceful, misunderstood nations. And doesn't it sound oh so reassuring? The very same Putin who insists Russia has never attacked anyone is now being echoed by his close friend Lukashenko, who has taken it upon himself to broadcast their profound love for peace. Just ignore the armed forces, the warplanes, and the nuclear saber-rattling. It's all part of their special peace-loving charm, one that could lull anyone to sleep. At least until the next invasion, that is. And with this, we conclude this episode of Break the Fake. Stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.